Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we gather here not just to hear words, but to confront ideas. Ideas that have the power to shape your life, to guide you through chaos, and to unlock the potential that lies dormant within you. Life is not a simple journey. It is a battle between order and disorder, between who you are and who you could be. And the difference between success and despair often comes down to the small disciplined choices you make every single day. The principles I'm about to share are not just abstract theories. They are rules, practical, time-tested foundations for a meaningful existence. They are not rules imposed upon you, but rules that will set you free. Because freedom, real freedom, is found in responsibility, in discipline, and in the pursuit of something greater than yourself. So if you want to unlock your potential, if you want to stand up straight with your shoulders back, if you want to walk the path toward meaning instead of chaos, then listen carefully. These 12 rules are not just suggestions. They are tools for transformation. Standing up straight with your shoulders back is more than just a matter of posture. It is a profound embodiment of the way you engage with the world, signaling to yourself and to others that you are ready to take on the challenges of life. This simple but powerful act has deep biological, psychological, and social significance. It is rooted in the evolutionary structure of dominance hierarchies and how we navigate the complexities of human existence. From a biological perspective, our nervous systems are attuned to status. Man, when you stand up straight with your shoulders back, you activate neural circuits that influence serotonin levels, which regulate mood, confidence, and resilience. In the animal kingdom, dominance hierarchies exist across species, from lobsters to primates. A lobster that wins a fight stands tall, its posture upright, exuding confidence, while a defeated lobster slumps, making itself small and vulnerable. The victorious lobster experiences a surge of serotonin, reinforcing its dominant position, while the defeated one suffers a drop in serotonin, making it more likely to lose future battles. Humans are not so different. When you adopt a powerful posture, your physiology follows. You feel more competent, capable, and ready to face the world. Conversely, when you slouch, when you make yourself small, your body reacts as if it is under threat, reducing your confidence and making you more prone to anxiety and depression. The mind and body are deeply interconnected. Psychological states manifest physically, and physical actions in turn shape psychological experiences. When you stand tall, your brain interprets it as a sign that you are someone who can take responsibility, face challenges, and assert yourself. People respond to that. Confidence is contagious. When you carry yourself with poise, you command more respect. You attract better opportunities. You make better first impressions. The world, in many ways, treats you as you signal you should be treated. If you walk hunched over, eyes cast downward, avoiding confrontation, the world will respond accordingly, reinforcing a cycle of submissiveness and low self-worth. But when you straighten your back, lift your chin, and look people in the eye, you project strength, and the world notices. This shift is not merely physical, it is an act of psychological transformation. Life is filled with struggles. It is filled with suffering, tragedy, and hardship. But the way you choose to confront it makes all the difference. Slumping, shrinking, and retreating do not make difficulties disappear. They only make you weaker in the face of them. However, adopting a posture of strength, both physically and mentally, positions you as someone who is prepared to engage with the world on equal footing. This does not mean that difficulties vanish, but when you stand up straight, you are more prepared to endure them, to push through adversity, and to emerge stronger on the other side. This principle extends beyond personal confidence. It is about responsibility. When you straighten your back, you accept the weight of existence. You acknowledge that life is not easy, but you face it anyway. There is a burden to bear in life, responsibilities, duties, obligations, but that is precisely where meaning is found. The avoidance of responsibility leads to stagnation, resentment, and despair. But standing tall in the face of life's challenges is an acceptance of the burden that leads to growth. Standing up straight does not mean arrogance. It does not mean bullying others or asserting dominance in a way that diminishes them. True strength is not about overpowering others, but about mastering yourself. It is about being firm but fair, confident but not cruel. When you present yourself with strength, you inspire others to do the same. You set a precedent for how people should treat you and, by extension, how they should treat themselves. Society rewards those who are willing to take up space, to assert themselves, to carry their responsibilities with dignity. Whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or any social setting, those who carry themselves with confidence are often given more respect, more opportunities, and more trust. This is not simply because they demand it, but because they signal through their actions and demeanor that they are capable of handling the challenges placed before them. A person who stands up straight with their shoulders back is not just demonstrating confidence, but is preparing themselves for life. It is a posture of readiness, of engagement, of willingness to meet the world head on. It is a choice, and like any choice, it must be made continuously. The world is unpredictable. There are moments of hardship, loss, and failure. But if you face them with a posture of strength, if you refuse to crumble under the weight of existence, you set yourself on a path of resilience and growth. Treating yourself like someone you are responsible for helping is a profound shift in perspective that can transform your life. Many people extend great care and compassion to others, but neglect themselves in ways they would never allow for those they love. They offer support, guidance, and kindness to friends and family, yet they speak to themselves with self-criticism, engage in destructive behaviors, and fail to prioritize their own well-being. This contradiction is not just a psychological quirk. It reveals something fundamental about human nature and the difficulty of self-respect. People often justify their neglect with excuses. They tell themselves they are not worthy, that they have failed too many times, that they do not deserve the same kindness they offer to others. But consider this: if you had a friend who constantly undermined themselves, who engaged in self-destructive behaviors, who failed to take care of their health, would you not encourage them to do better? Would you not remind them that they deserve to be healthy, strong, and capable? You would. You would. You would remind them that they have value, that they are worth the effort, that they should not be resigned to misery. Yet, when it comes to your own life, you might not extend the same encouragement. This tendency is not entirely irrational. People are deeply aware of their own flaws, their own weaknesses, their own capacity for failure. They know every mistake they have ever made, every promise they have broken to themselves, every opportunity they have wasted. This knowledge makes it easy to justify self-neglect. But just because you are aware of your shortcomings does not mean you should give up on yourself. You are still responsible for yourself, just as you would be responsible for someone in your care. A parent does not stop feeding a child simply because the child misbehaved. A doctor does not refuse treatment to a patient simply because they made poor choices. Responsibility requires rising above failures, acknowledging them, and taking the necessary steps to correct course. To treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping, you must first recognize that you matter. Your existence is not trivial. The way you live your life affects not only you, but also those around you. If you allow yourself to fall into chaos, into despair, into a state of perpetual suffering, you become a burden rather than a source of strength. And if you take responsibility for yourself, if you nurture your potential, if you take care of your mind and body, you become someone who can contribute positively to the world. This is not about indulgence. Treating yourself like someone you are responsible for helping does not mean giving in to every whim or desire. It does not mean pursuing immediate pleasure at the cost of long-term well-being. If you were responsible for another person's health, you would not let them eat nothing but junk food simply because it feels good in the moment. You would encourage them to exercise, to eat nutritious food, to rest properly, even when they did not feel like it. You would not allow them to engage in self-destructive behaviors unchecked. You would encourage them to improve, to aim higher, to pursue meaning instead of distraction. This level of responsibility requires honesty. You cannot help yourself if you are not truthful about what you need. Many people avoid responsibility by pretending their problems are smaller than they are. They downplay their struggles. They ignore their pain. They distract themselves with entertainment, substances, or shallow pursuits. But ignoring a problem does not make it disappear. If you were taking care of someone else, you would not ignore their suffering. You would help them confront it, acknowledge it, and find a solution. You must do the same for yourself. This also means setting boundaries. If you were responsible for a child's well-being, you would not allow them to be surrounded by harmful influences. You would not let them stay in toxic relationships, spend time with people who tear them down, or engage in behaviors that diminish their potential. You would protect them, guide them, and ensure that they were in an environment that encouraged growth. You must do the same for yourself. You must remove yourself from situations that harm you. Cut ties with people who diminish your self-worth, and actively seek environments that nurture your development. Another critical aspect of responsibility is self-discipline. If you were helping someone become better, you would encourage them to follow a structured plan. You would not let them wander aimlessly, hoping that things improve on their own. You would help them set goals, create routines, and follow through on commitments. You must do the same for yourself. Life is not meant to be lived passively. If you want to grow, if you want to reach your potential, you must actively take steps toward improvement. People often think of responsibility as a burden, but in truth, it is the key to meaning. When you take responsibility for someone else, you give them the tools to improve their lives. When you take responsibility for yourself, you do the same. You become someone who is capable, strong, and reliable. You build trust in yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone who is worth the effort, who is deserving of care and respect. Making friends with people who want the best for you is one of the most crucial choices you can make in life. The people you surround yourself with shape your identity, influence your mindset, and determine the trajectory of your future. Human beings are social creatures, deeply affected by those they associate with. Whether you rise or fall is often a direct consequence of the company you keep. If you surround yourself with individuals who support your growth, challenge you to improve, and celebrate your achievements, you create an environment that fosters success. On the other hand, if your friendships are filled with negativity, resentment, or self-destruction, your potential is diminished and your ambitions are undermined. People often underestimate how profoundly relationships influence their actions and beliefs. When you spend time with people who complain, avoid responsibility, and sabotage their own progress, you begin to absorb their habits and attitudes. You might not realize it at first, but over time, their way of thinking seeps into your subconscious. If they avoid hard work, you may begin to justify procrastination. If they resent those who achieve success, you may find yourself feeling guilty for striving toward your own ambitions. If they see the world as unfair and hopeless, you may adopt the same cynical outlook. Human beings are remarkably adaptable, and if you immerse yourself in an environment that discourages growth, you will shrink to fit that mold. The opposite is also true. When you associate with people who push themselves to be better, who take responsibility for their actions, who strive for something greater, you will feel compelled to do the same. Their energy, discipline, and ambition will inspire you to aim higher. They will encourage you when you doubt yourself, challenge you when you become complacent, and celebrate your victories rather than resent them. These kinds of friends do not hold you back out of jealousy or insecurity. They push you forward because they genuinely want to see you succeed. Recognizing the difference between these two types of people is essential. Some individuals, whether consciously or unconsciously, do not want you to succeed. They may fear being left behind, or they may be so consumed by their own failures that they resent anyone who strives for something better. These people will subtly or overtly discourage your ambitions. They will mock your efforts, belittle your successes, or remind you of your past failures to keep you in the same place as them. They may claim to be supportive, but their actions reveal otherwise. They are not interested in your growth. They are interested in maintaining the status quo because it makes them feel more comfortable. It is difficult to distance yourself from such people, especially if they have been a part of your life for a long time. There is guilt in leaving behind old friendships even when they are toxic. But true friendship is not about loyalty to stagnation. It is about mutual support and shared progress. A real friend does not hold you back out of fear. They do not encourage self-destruction. They do not enable bad habits. They want to see you succeed because they care about you, not because it benefits them in some way. Choosing to surround yourself with people who want the best for you is not just about avoiding toxicity. It is about actively seeking out who inspire you. Look for individuals who challenge themselves, who take responsibility for their actions, who seek meaning rather than comfort. Find those who do not crumble in the face of adversity, but who rise above it. These people are not necessarily the loudest or most charismatic in the room, folks. They may not be the ones who seek attention or approval, but they are the ones whose actions align with their values. They work hard, stay disciplined, and push forward even when things are difficult. Being friends with these kinds of people does not mean they will always agree with you. In fact, the best friends are the ones who challenge you when you are wrong. They are not afraid to tell you when you are making a mistake because they care more about your growth than about pleasing you. They will push you to be better, not by tearing you down, but by holding you accountable. They will support you, but they will not enable you. They will encourage you, but they will not allow you to settle for mediocrity. The people you choose to befriend also reflect the standards you set for yourself. If you surround yourself with people who take life seriously, who pursue meaningful goals, and who work towards self-improvement, you will naturally elevate your own standards. You will become someone who values discipline, responsibility, and ambition because those qualities will be reinforced in your daily interactions. If instead you associate with people who lack direction, who avoid challenges, and who indulge in self-destructive behaviors, you will lower your own standards to fit in with them. The process of making better friendships requires self-reflection. If you want to attract people who are driven, responsible, and growth-oriented, you must become that kind of person yourself. High-quality individuals are drawn to those who share their values. If you are lazy, cynical, or irresponsible, you will struggle to form relationships with people who are disciplined, optimistic, and reliable. This means that before you seek out better friends, you must first work on becoming someone who deserves those kinds of friendships. Comparing yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today, is a fundamental principle for personal growth and mental well-being. The world is filled with people who are more skilled, more successful, more intelligent, or more fortunate than you. If you constantly measure yourself against them, you will always find yourself lacking. No matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone ahead of you, someone whose accomplishments seem greater, whose life appears easier, whose success seems more effortless. This kind of comparison is not only discouraging, but also deeply misleading. It creates a distorted perception of reality, one that leads to resentment, self-doubt, and an unending sense of inadequacy. Human beings are wired to compare themselves to others. It is an evolutionary trait that once helped people determine their place in social hierarchies, understand what was necessary for survival, and identify role models worth emulating. In small, tribal societies, this made sense. People lived in close-knit groups where the standards of success were clear and relatively achievable. But in today's world, where social media and global connectivity expose individuals to the lives of millions, the tendency to compare oneself to others has become overwhelming and counterproductive. You are not just competing with your immediate peers, you are unconsciously competing with the most successful, talented, and exceptional individuals on the planet. When you compare yourself to others, you are often comparing your reality to their highlights. Social media, in particular, amplifies this effect. People present carefully curated versions of their lives, showcasing their best moments while hiding their struggles. You see the luxurious vacations, the career milestones, the perfect relationships, but you do not see the failures, the insecurities, the sacrifices, or the moments of self-doubt that inevitably exist behind the scenes. This creates an illusion, making it seem as if everyone else is effortlessly succeeding while you struggle alone. It leads to unnecessary suffering, envy, and self-sabotage. Instead of measuring your progress against others, the only fair and productive comparison is against yourself. The question to ask is not whether you are better than someone else, but whether you are better than you were yesterday. Are you learning more than you did before? Are you making small improvements in your habits, your discipline, your knowledge, your skills? Are you moving forward, even if only by a fraction? Growth is incremental. Major transformations do not happen overnight. They are the result of consistent, small improvements over time. This mindset requires honesty. It is easy to deceive yourself into thinking you are making progress when you are not. To compare yourself to who you were yesterday, you must have a clear understanding of where you actually stand. This means taking a hard look at your strengths and weaknesses, identifying the areas where you fall short, and setting realistic goals for improvement. It means being brutally honest about your flaws while also recognizing your achievements. It means tracking your progress, no matter how small, and acknowledging the effort you are putting in. Self-comparison also fosters a healthier sense of motivation. When you compare yourself to others, your motivation is often driven by external validation, the desire to prove yourself, to gain recognition, to be seen as superior. This kind of motivation is unstable. It depends on circumstances beyond your control, and it can quickly turn into bitterness or self-loathing when you fall short. But when you focus on your own progress, your motivation becomes internal. You are not trying to outdo someone else. You are trying to outdo yourself. Do yourself. This creates a deeper, more sustainable sense of fulfillment. Every small improvement becomes a victory, every step forward a sign of growth. This approach also allows for self-compassion. If you are only competing with yourself, you can acknowledge that growth is not linear. There will be days when you fall short, when you make mistakes, when you feel like you are regressing rather than progressing. That is part of the process. What matters is that you recognize these moments not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and adjust. If you judge yourself too harshly, you risk becoming discouraged and giving up. But if you see setbacks as natural, as part of the broader journey of improvement, you will have the resilience to keep going. Another benefit of this mindset is that it fosters a sense of control. When you compare yourself to others, you are often measuring yourself against things that are beyond your influence. You cannot control where you were born, what advantages others have had, or what opportunities have come their way. But you can control your own actions. You can control how much effort you put in, how disciplined you are, how committed you are to self-improvement. Focusing on your own progress shifts your attention away from what you cannot change and toward what you can. It puts you in charge of your own development. Personal growth is an ongoing process. No matter how much progress you make, there will always be another level to reach, another challenge to overcome, another version of yourself to aspire to. The goal is not to achieve perfection or to surpass everyone else. The goal is simply to be better than you were yesterday, to keep moving forward, to build a life that is meaningful and fulfilling on your own terms. Life is difficult and suffering is inevitable. No one escapes pain, hardship, or tragedy. The question is not whether you will encounter difficulties, but how you will respond to them. One of the most effective ways to build a meaningful and fulfilling life is to pursue what is meaningful rather than what is expedient. Expedience is the easy route. It is the path of immediate gratification, of short-term pleasure, of avoiding discomfort and responsibility. It is the choice to indulge in distractions, to escape challenges, to do what is easy instead of what is necessary. But meaning is different. Meaning requires sacrifice. Meaning requires discipline, effort, and the willingness to endure discomfort for the sake of something greater. Expedience often disguises itself as a form of self-care or enjoyment. It tells you that you deserve to take it easy, that you should avoid stress, that life should be comfortable. It tempts you with short-term rewards, junk food instead of healthy meals, entertainment instead of productivity, avoidance instead of confrontation. But this path leads nowhere. The more you give in to expedience, the weaker you become. The avoidance of difficulty does not make life easier. It makes you less capable of handling it. Yeah, problems do not disappear simply because you ignore them. They grow, multiplying in the background until they become overwhelming. Pursuing what is meaningful requires the courage to delay gratification. It means choosing the hard road now so that your future self will be stronger, more capable, and more fulfilled. This applies to every area of life. If you want to be physically healthy, you cannot simply eat whatever you want and avoid exercise. You must endure the discomfort of discipline, regular workouts, healthy eating, sufficient rest. If you want to be mentally strong, you must expose yourself to challenges, to difficult ideas, to the discomfort of learning and growth. If you want meaningful relationships, you must be willing to be honest, to have difficult conversations, to take responsibility for your role in conflicts. If you want success in your career, you must sacrifice leisure, dedicate yourself to your craft, and push through failures. Sacrifice is at the heart of meaning. In ancient societies, people understood that to achieve something valuable, something had to be given up. This principle still holds true today. You cannot have everything at once. If you want to build a great career, you may have to sacrifice some comforts. If you want to have a strong and lasting relationship, you may have to sacrifice selfish desires and put in the work to maintain connection and trust. If you want to become someone of value, you must sacrifice who you are today for who you could become tomorrow. Meaning is not found in momentary pleasure. It is found in responsibility and striving towards something worthwhile, in dedicating yourself to a purpose beyond yourself. This does not mean you must have everything figured out at once. You may not know exactly what your ultimate purpose is, but you can start by identifying what is meaningful in your daily life. What actions make you feel fulfilled? What activities bring a deep sense of satisfaction rather than just temporary pleasure? What responsibilities, if you embrace them fully, would make you stronger? The answers to these questions point you in the direction of meaning. Choosing meaning over expedience requires the willingness to endure discomfort. It means being willing to suffer for something worthwhile. This does not mean you should seek suffering for its own sake, but rather that you should not flee from it when it arises as a necessary part of growth. The greatest achievements, the deepest relationships, the most profound sense of fulfillment, all of these things come with struggle. They come with effort, with discipline, with moments of hardship that test your resilience, but they also bring the greatest rewards. The pursuit of meaning also requires honesty. It demands that you confront yourself, that you acknowledge your flaws, that you take responsibility for your actions. Expedience is often rooted in deception, lying to yourself about what you really want, making excuses for why you are not pursuing it, pretending that your avoidance is justified. But meaning requires clarity. It requires clarity. It requires facing reality as it is not as you wish it. It requires admitting where you have fallen short and committing to doing better. A meaningful life is not free of suffering, but it transforms suffering into something valuable. When you choose meaning, your struggles become part of a greater narrative. Your hardships are no longer pointless. They are steps towards something greater. You develop resilience, wisdom, and strength. You become someone who can endure, who can overcome, who can build something lasting. And in doing so, you not only improve your own life, but also contribute to the lives of others. A person who takes responsibility, who pursues what is meaningful, becomes a source of strength for those around them. They inspire others to do the same. They create ripples of positive change that extend far beyond themselves. Standing up straight with your shoulders back is not just about posture. It is a symbolic and physiological representation of how you engage with the world. Human beings are wired for social interaction, and much of that interaction is influenced by body language. Your posture communicates your confidence, your willingness to face challenges, and your place within the social hierarchy. When you slouch, when you hunch your shoulders forward, when you avoid eye contact, you are sending a message not only to others, but also to yourself. That message is one of submission, of weakness, of fear. It signals that you do not believe in your own competence, that you are bracing yourself for defeat before you have even begun. Physiologically, posture affects brain chemistry. Studies show that adopting an upright, confident posture can increase levels of serotonin and reduce cortisol, the stress hormone. Serotonin is associated with feelings of well-being, confidence, and dominance, while high cortisol levels contribute to anxiety and a sense of helplessness. When you physically take up more space, when you stand tall with your chest open and shoulders back, your body interprets this as a signal that you are capable and prepared. This, in turn, affects your mental state, reinforcing a sense of strength and control. The significance of posture is evident in the animal kingdom. Lobsters, for example, engage in dominance battles to establish social hierarchies. A victorious lobster adopts an expansive, upright posture, while a defeated one collapses inward, physically reflecting its lowered status. The defeated lobster is more likely to lose future battles because its body chemistry shifts. It produces lower levels of serotonin, which makes it less aggressive and less likely to fight for dominance. Something similar happens in humans. When you carry yourself as though you are defeated, your brain takes that as a cue and adjusts your internal chemistry accordingly. You become more anxious, more doubtful, more passive. But when you deliberately straighten your posture, when you hold your head high and make eye contact, you project an image of competence, both to others and to yourself. This is not just about physical stance. It is about a fundamental approach to life. Standing up straight with your shoulders back means taking responsibility. It means facing challenges head on rather than shrinking away. It means refusing to be a passive participant in your own life. People who walk into a room with confidence, who meet others with a firm handshake and direct gaze, are immediately perceived as more competent and reliable. This is not just because of the way others see them, but because of the way they see themselves. When you behave as though you are capable, you begin to internalize that belief, and it becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. This principle applies in social interactions, in career advancement, and in personal development. If you approach a difficult situation with a hunched posture, avoiding eye contact, speaking hesitantly, you are reinforcing a mindset of submission and fear. But if you approach that same situation with an upright posture, with steady breath, with a sense of physical control, your mental state shifts. You begin to see yourself as someone who can handle challenges rather than someone who is controlled by them. There is also an element of defiance in standing up straight. The world is filled with obstacles, with setbacks, with tragedies. There are forces, both internal and external, that seek to push you down, to keep you from rising. Fear, doubt, insecurity, these are powerful enemies. But standing tall is an act of defiance against them. It is a declaration that despite the weight of the world, you will not collapse under it. It is a choice to engage with life fully rather than retreat into passivity. Standing up straight also changes how people treat you. If you walk through life hunched over, appearing unsure of yourself, others will take their cues from that. They will assume you are less capable, less deserving of respect, less worth listening to. But if you carry yourself with presence and assertiveness, you command attention. People respond to confidence with respect. They listen more attentively. They take your ideas more seriously. They are more likely to grant you opportunities. This is not about arrogance or false bravado. It is not about pretending to be something you are not. It is about aligning your physical presence with the best version of yourself. It is about choosing to face life with strength rather than submission. It is about recognizing that the way you carry yourself is not just a reflection of your inner state, but also a tool to shape it. By deliberately adopting a posture of confidence and readiness, you begin to cultivate those qualities within yourself. Change does not happen overnight. If you have spent years carrying yourself as though you are small, uncertain, or afraid, it will take effort to shift that. But the act of standing up straight, of physically asserting your presence in the world, is a first step. It is a simple yet powerful adjustment that signals to yourself and to those around you that you are prepared to engage with life fully.